when you have a loose, weak mommy tummy, trying to restore your strength, your tightness, the function, trying to minimize back pain, pelvic floor issues to stop leaking. The way that we go about doing that isn't the same as the way somebody else would strengthen their core just because they want six-pack abs. Like, we don't just do a billion sit-ups and it's going to fix things. And I know that because I'm a mom of four. I tried doing that myself. It did not work. After a year of doing all the traditional ab exercises after my second baby, I realized I was doing something very wrong because I still looked quite pregnant. Well, I'd say like 4 or 5 months pregnant. I was mistaken for being pregnant. People did ask me if I was pregnant. It was very embarrassing. And I had debilitating back pain, which was really bad, and leaking. I don't know if y'all get leaking, have had leaking. Just know that that's not something that we have to live with. So let me just start off explaining what's going on, and then I want to open the floor to answer a question. Otherwise, I'm thinking that I'm going to talk about how to train your natural waist trainer. I did a video or short video recently about the dangers of waist training, and I know that's like people come for me when it comes to that, but here's the thing: we can agree that you should really strengthen and tighten your tummy, and you actually have a muscle in your stomach that acts like a waist trainer. And so that's the muscle that we really try to focus on when it comes to tightening the core postpartum, because that muscle, which is one of our 4 abdominal muscles, you have more than just your six-pack muscles. You have 4 muscles, and the deepest core one wraps around and cinches you in like a waist trainer, and that's the one that I really try to focus on when I'm doing all my exercise, when I'm creating my programs for my ladies. This is the muscle, because that one is like your natural waist trainer. It affects your pelvic floor, it affects your back, it affects the looseness of your tummy coming out and around. So that's really important. Okay, one thing that I want you to do, if you are trying to rehab your core, trying to strengthen and tighten your mommy tummy, first you want to assess what is going on with my stomach. How are my muscles? During pregnancy, our stomach gets very stretched out, and our body goes out of balance a little bit because the body is trying to desperately keep us upright and strong with this growing baby that's throwing our balance off. The baby is causing our muscles to stretch out that usually help keep us upright. It's also, crowding out our lungs, and we can't breathe properly. We get all this chest breathing. It's also widening our rib cage, which affects our core. Also pushing down our pelvic floor and our bladder, which affects our pelvic floor. So many different changes happen during pregnancy, and after we have the baby, those things don't always go back the way they were before. And our body does things to compensate for the lack of strength, for the stretching, for the wide ribs, for the rib flare. It does different things to compensate. When you have the weak core, your body still has to stand up, tall without falling over, and your core helps to keep you upright and keeps you from falling over. So your body has to figure out ways to kind of keep you upright, even though we have all these different imbalances. And so one thing that you want to assess is, what imbalances do you have? One of the things that we want to assess is, how are your deep core muscles working, firing? Are they tightening the way that they should? Do you have any ab separation? Do you have any bulging of the core? Well, let's test that really quick with you, because I want you to know where you stand so you can know how to approach it. Okay, so here's one test that I like to do at the beginning of all of my lives, and that is the test for ab separation. Ab separation is where this midline tissue goes from being something thin like this to widening to being something wider, and the whole core, this is connective tissue that's stretching out. That's what's stretching out. And you have connective tissue that goes in between all your muscles to connect them together. It wraps all your muscles, and it can generally all stretch out during pregnancy and not tighten back up postpartum without some help. So first, I want you to test for what's called diastasis recti, or ab separation. So very quickly with me, I want you to lean back. I want you to look down. Look to see if you have any coning or doming coming up in the midline, okay? coning or doming coming up through the midline. It's going to look something like this when you lean back, okay? You might see this when you're doing sit-ups. You might see this when you're doing some random activity throughout the day where you lean back for whatever reason. When you're leaning back to reach for the car seat or do something in the back of the car. If you see that, I want you to say me in the comments, okay? If you see that coning or doming, I want you to say me in the comments, all right? That is ab separation. If you have that, you definitely want to be very careful about what exercise. Yeah, see me's coming up in the comments already. If you have that, which I found out I had after my second one especially, and just know it's absolutely normal. It's something that we get during pregnancy towards the end. But for 1 out of 3 of us, it doesn't tighten back up after we have the baby naturally. So for 2 out of 3 of us, it does tighten naturally. And I don't even know if it's 2 out of 3 anymore. I bet it's less than 2 out of 3 because so many women are finding that they have it past 6 months postpartum. It should kind of tighten up, but it's just not. And it didn't for me either. So I had to really work at it. And I had to do it properly because the sit-ups actually were making it worse. Anyway, so you want to know if you have that. If you have that, I have a free guide, free exercises, and in there I talk about how to know what exercises are right or wrong for you. I'm not going to go over that today, but I did go over it last week. If you want to check out the last week's YouTube video on my YouTube channel, Mommy Mango, I talk exactly like what not to do, how to know if an exercise is right or wrong for you with Diastasis Recti. Okay, so that you can be more aware of your body and what you should do and not do as far as exercises go, okay? But that's the first assessment I want you to do, assessing for ab separation. Here's a second assessment I want you to do, okay? It's the same, but I want you to look for something different a little bit. So when you lean back, now you're not actually touching anything. You can do this standing or sitting. Lean back, okay? Can you keep your abs, go back as far as you can, can you keep your abs flat like that? Or does it bulge? Does your whole rectus abdominis bulge like a bread loaf? Okay? I want you to lean back, go back as far as you can. And I want you to see, does your six-pack muscles bulge like a bread loaf? So yeah, some of us may have doming right in the center because this connective tissue might be stretched out and you might have that doming in the center. But I also want you to look for, do you have that bread loaf? Yes, bread loaf, YBCCFYYG. Yeah. If you have that, put me in the comments. If you have that bread loaf where your six-pack pops, it pops out and you can't hold it flat. Yeah, I see a lot of me's there. Okay, so that's a separate thing and it's connected. Okay, so the first one we're assessing for that diastasis recti or ab separation. The second thing we're assessing for is just general deep core strength, okay? So when you're leaning back, what's keeping you up? What's holding you up? Your six-pack is there. If it's bulging forward, that is a good sign that your deep core could really use some strengthening, okay? That's exactly what happened with me. When I leaned back, I couldn't scoop my abs flat like that, okay? What actually tightens that is your waist trainer muscle, the thing I was talking about at the beginning of this video, this waist trainer muscle. And that is your deepest core muscle. So you have 4 layers of abdominal muscles. And a lot of times, traditional ab exercises focus on the outermost superficial muscles because that's where you get those ab lines. It looks all cute, which is not a bad thing. We just have to make sure we understand how to engage the entire core in balance and not neglect the deeper core muscles. So what actually would hold that bread loaf back is your deepest core muscle. It's called your transverse abdominis. So you have your rectus abdominis, you have your obliques, your external and your internal obliques. Underneath those 3 muscles, you have the transverse abdominis. The transverse abdominis wraps around you. Now, truly, it kind of goes like around your waistline here, and then it connects through connective tissue, but it's all, the force transfers and tightens all the way around, okay? From the front to the back, okay? That is your natural waist trainer muscle. I'm going to say it again, transverse abdominis. That's your natural waist trainer muscle. And when that muscle is strong, the one that wraps around, when that muscle is strong, when you lean back, you can keep your abs flat because it wraps around. Now, if you're seeing that bread loaf appearance and your six pack is bulging forward, that is a good sign that your deep core muscle, the transverse abdominis, the natural waist trainer, is not strong enough to hold it back and tight. And that's why when you're doing sit-ups, you're getting that bulging. And if you have diastasis recti, you're also getting bulging there. As you strengthen your transverse abdominis, like all the exercises that I show in my TikToks, my YouTubes, my Facebook, and in my programs that you'll find in the links in my bio, is the free exercises that I give out in the link in my bio. Those exercises help to strengthen that deep core so that when you lean back, it flattens out everything and you're strengthening that deep core muscle, okay? Now, that is so important because, again, it's wrapping around and cinching us in. That muscle had to loosen up during pregnancy. It had to, because the baby needed somewhere to go. And if that muscle is tight, it's not going to give room for the baby, okay? Oh, look at that. That's really cool. I like those little hearts and things. I don't know. These are, those are always so cool and surprising when I see them here on TikTok. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And thanks for all the likes. It lets the algorithm know that we are talking about something substantial here. Okay, so talking about that waist trainer muscle, all right? So real quick, just to kind of think this through, because I know I get a lot of people coming at me with the waist trainers and they're good and they help and all this, and I'm not going to go negatively talking about them right now, okay? All I'm going to say is think about, that's my baby. I have 4 kids, by the way, and the toddler, I don't know if he's not getting enough sleep. He's just like not really happy. And every little thing, like the color of his cup could be off right now. That's what kind of cry he might have right now. But either way, so with your, I want you to think about this with me. Let's say that I am trying to strengthen and tighten my deep core muscle, the waist trainer muscle, the transverse abdominis, and I'm trying to strengthen it. Now that is a postural muscle. It helps to keep us upright and keeping us from falling over. It's like a core stabilizing muscle to keep us upright, okay? Now, if I put a waist trainer on top of that muscle and have it do the job of that muscle, what do you think will happen to the muscle? I want to see it in the comments. If I put a waist trainer on top of the muscle and I have it do the same like support, tightness and everything, and try to make it do the job of that muscle, and I'm wearing it chronically, what will that muscle do? I love it. See, I am not having to tell you the negative effects of the waist trainer. Like, I am just letting you answer for yourself. That's exactly what happens. I see it. The muscle will weaken it. It will get lazy. These are your answers. So I didn't tell you, you told me, and that's just, we'll let that be the record, okay? Yes, it does. And I have had people tell me like, oh yeah, I wear it all day and I feel strong and I feel supported when I'm wearing it. But when I take it off at the end of the day, I just want to crumble. Like, I don't feel strong. I feel weaker, and that's probably, aside from all the other things, like I have a pelvic floor physical therapist that works with the ladies in my paid program, and she doesn't like them. And she talks to our ladies all the time because a lot of ladies like you and me have leaking issues. And when we're pressing on our here and we can't get our breath down, we feel pressure coming down, and often can make issues like prolapse and leaking and stuff like that worse. So that's something that's a concern for us. If like you've never had a baby, don't have any of those issues, it may not be as problematic, especially if you're not wearing it a lot. But there are issues that we won't even like really discuss too much, but just really looking at the idea of trying to strengthen our natural waist trainer. And if we are putting something on top of it to do its job, we're not going to be able to strengthen it well. And so like we don't, like if somebody is immediately postpartum and they're wanting to wear something for support, that's fine. Especially if you can't just really be in bed and be on bed rest in those first 6 weeks. Like you just had a baby, everything is loose and just feels super like all over the place. And you just feel like, so If you can't just rest and lie down, wearing some support is not going to hurt you, as long as you're not wearing it so tight to try to reshape your figure per se. You're just giving yourself some support. But as soon as possible, you want to start strengthening that muscle and taking that off so that you can really start strengthening and using that muscle so it can get stronger and be your natural waist trainer. I hope that makes sense. I am going to leave it at that. Now, going back to the whole idea of the waist trainer muscle, the transverse abdominis, that's what a lot of the exercises that you're going to find on all my profiles, Mommy Mango, all in all my social medias, my free programs, my paid programs, all of those exercises are all about really bringing those core muscles in balance with the transverse abdominis so you can get that support that you need all the way around. That helps keep you nice and strong and tight for any pelvic floor looseness that we have, any mommy tummy looseness that we have, any back pain issues that we have because of looseness. Those exercises are going to help for that. And a lot of times when moms do these exercises after having done like sit-ups and all of those traditional ab exercises, they're like, oh wow, these really work. I mean, they go in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and they're like, wow, these are really making a difference in such a short period of time. Like, yeah, because you're focusing on the right muscles now. When you are just focusing on the rectus abdominis, that's nice, but the rectus abdominis is a flexion muscle. It helps you sit up. And yes, we all need to sit up. We all need to be able to get up and get out, but the transverse abdominis wraps around and does that. That's what its job is. That's just what it does. Okay, so it's really important not to neglect that muscle when you're training all the other abdominal muscles as well. Okay, let me check for any like quick questions. Somebody asked if it was too late, like 6 years postpartum. I don't care if you're 20 years postpartum. I have testimonials where moms are like, this is not just for moms who are immediately postpartum. It worked on my 60-year-old mama belly too. So I have moms 60 plus in these programs. It's just like strengthening your biceps. If it doesn't matter if you're 60 or you're 80, as long as you start giving it a challenge, it's going to start responding by strengthening. Okay, same thing with your core. So it's never too late. Okay. Let's see, I was moving around right away when I had my C-section, so I don't know if my tummy even healed right. And it's okay. It's fine. I have so many moms that come into my program with C-sections. It doesn't matter if you, lots of us moms have had to move around right away after having a baby, especially those of us with multiple children. I had 4. The first one, you could just lay in bed, but the second one, you better be figuring out where those toddlers are when they're running around. So I totally get it. It's not too late. Don't feel like you've done too much damage. We don't. Our bodies are resilient. You know, they'll respond to what we do to it. There's so much hope. Like most of moms who come into my program are not immediately postpartum because they didn't figure this stuff out till later on. So don't feel like there's no, hope. Definitely there is. OMG, that's why I leak now, SMH. Ooh. I learned a lot. So happy I stopped. So happy that you stopped too. All right, guys, if you have any more questions, definitely send me a DM here on Instagram or YouTube, Facebook, wherever. Don't forget, I have free exercises in the link in my bio. So check them out. You can get started today. Okay. Thank you so much for joining me.